Hello, welcome back to another video. My name is Gemma and today I thought it would be fun to tier rank all of the nominated books for the Dublin Literary Award according to whether I'm interested in them or not. So if you're unfamiliar with the Dublin Literary Award, I only discovered it last year and that was thanks to Scott at Gunpowder Fiction Plot, who has also done a video on this, so I'll link that below. But the Dublin Literary Award is fantastic because it is books that are nominated by libraries across the globe, and they submit books in, so they could be translated, they could be written in the English language. So the nominees are super broad across all genres and all sort of levels of reading, and the list last year was really interesting and I want to follow it a little closer this year. So there are over 50 books that are longlisted for the Dublin Literary Award, and then there's a short list of 5 or 6 books later on in the season. I have not written the date down, so I will put it here when the shortlist will be announced. But I thought it would be fun to just have a look through the books and see what I'm interested in, what I'm not interested in, whether there are any I've read, whether there are any that I've DNF'd. And so I'm going to do it in a tier ranking structure. I have actually my son's iPad here because I don't own one, so he was delighted when I went on and stole his iPad to put 50 pictures of books into his photo gallery, and we're just gonna do that. So I'm just logging in, and yeah, we'll see what we see. Okay, so I'm gonna just screen record and we'll go through them, and as you can probably see, I've got several categories here that go actually all across the screen. We've got must read, so obviously books that I've heard of that I'm really interested in, that I definitely want to read. Then I've got interested, maybe, so that's probably, I'm going to wait and see some reviews. Probs not, nope. And then I've got a category for read and DNF'd. So let's just get started. So the first book I have here is Beyond the Door of No Return by David Diop. David Diop is an author I'm familiar with. I read his debut novel, At Night All Blood is Black. I think I might be the only person on BookTube who didn't like that book, but I am definitely interested in trying his new one, so I would put this, how do I move it, into interested. Definitely interested in that one. Next up, and you can't see them very well because they're squares and books aren't square, but the next book is Blackouts by Justin Torres. I've heard a lot about this book. I think it was nominated for the National Book Award last year in the States, and I think it's got sections of text that are blacked out to do with sort of suppressing people's voice and things, but I'm really interested in that, so that would also go in the interested category for me. Next, Death of a Foreign Gentleman, I believe is what that says. So I actually don't know anything about this book, so I do have my phone here as well, so I will just read like the start of the blurb. My initial thought is I don't read a lot of sort of crime, so I'm not sure if that's going to be for me or not. The first book in a series of post-war literary crime novels featuring a detective set in Cambridge, UK 1947. Props not. It's just not really my jam. I have been getting into a bit of Agatha Christie lately, but I think like moving like fully into crime is probably a no for me. Next on the list is Dark Ride by Lou Berney. So this one says the story follows a slacker who is drifting through life until he bumps into 2 young children who are clearly being abused. He resolves to save them. That sounds quite interesting. I would potentially be interested in that. I don't know if it's part of a series or anything. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, no, I think that sounds quite interesting. So I would put that in interested, I think. I don't read loads of thrillers, but that one sounds like it could be quite good. City in Ruins next by Don Winslow. I'm pretty sure this is a book in a series. Yeah, this is one in a series, so this is a probs not one for me. This is it's another thriller following on from City of Fire and City of Dreams. So this is the third in a series. I'm probably not going to even read the blurb, but that's a probs not for me. I like the odd thriller, but like a trilogy of thrillers, probably not my jam. Christ on a Bike. I mean, I like the title. It definitely stands out. And this is by Orla, Owen. And the first couple of sentences say, Keris received an unexpected inheritance, but there are rules attached. 3 simple rules that must be followed. I would say interested. Or maybe. I'd say maybe for this one. It could be interesting. I'm intrigued by the title more than anything else. But yeah, I certainly haven't heard anyone else speak about it. That doesn't mean it's not any good. But I don't think I would prioritise it, you know. Then we have Caledonian Road by Andrew A. Hagen. So I've read Mayflies by this author and I really enjoyed it. But I know that this one's had mixed reviews. So I would probably put this one into the maybe category. Edenglassie, Melissa Lucashenko. Yes, this is a must read for me because I know that Scott, the aforementioned Scott at Gunpowder Fiction Plot, read this last year and really enjoyed it. And it was nominated, I think, for the Stella Prize, maybe also the Miles Franklin. I can't quite remember, but this is an Australian author. And yeah, I've been wanting to read this since I saw Scott talk about it. So that's a must read for me. Okay, so next we have Eliete. A Normal Life. So this one's by Dulce Maria Cardoso. Eliete, it is Eliete, not Elite. Eliete is a normal woman in her early 40s, born just after the Carnation Revolution. There is hardly anything extraordinary about her life, and yet she enthralls us with her desire to live and to understand people and things. That doesn't really capture me, so probs not, I would say. Probs not. Not super interested in that. Farewell to the Little Coffee Shop of Kabul. So this is the third in a trilogy. The Little Coffee Shop in Kabul thing has been a trilogy. I think it's a little bit too commercial fiction for me. So I would say probs not, unless I was really fancying something light. But then if I was, I would obviously read the first in the series, not this one. Summer Fishing in Lapland. I do love the title, by Juhani, Karla. So this is also translated by Lola Roadriguez. A brilliantly weird literary fantasy set in Lapland filled with mythical creatures. When Elena makes her annual summer pilgrimage to her remote family farm in Lapland, she has 3 days to catch the pike in a local pond, or she and the love of her life will both die. Yes. Interested. Definitely interested in that. Literary fantasy can be a bit hit or miss for me, but I like the sound of it. I like the cover. The next one, I can't even see the title of it. I have a feeling it might be called Home. Okay, so it's called Home by Andrea Tomper. This one is also translated by Josephina Comporle. Yeah. The description I've got is not in English, so let me see. No, the description, alas, is not in English on Goodreads, which is handy. It's translated from Hungarian. Home deals with the experience of homecoming after extended absence and engages with the archaeology of the self in the context of estrangement and belonging. Sounds a bit dull to me. I'm actually going to put that in nope. I think from the fact that there isn't even an English synopsis on Goodreads, I think it's probably going to be one that's quite difficult to get hold of, and it's not an interesting enough premise for me to hunt it out, you know. Next we have Here Lay Tirpitz by Ingrid Storhollmen. This one is also translated. Again, Goodreads does not have an English synopsis, which is not helping me. So in this stunning novel, acclaimed Norwegian poet Ingrid Storhollmen resurrects the lives, trials and dreams of the men on board the largest ship during World War II called the Tirpitz, and that of their wives, lovers, family. That sounds really good, actually. I am interested in that. Interested. Then we've got Headshot by Rita Bullwinkle, which I have read and thought it was very underwhelming. So I'll put it in red, but didn't love it. Hangman by Maya Binyam. So this was longlisted and possibly also shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction. It never really grabbed me, so I never got to it. I'm going to put this in Probs Not, because from what I heard of it, it doesn't sound that interesting. Then we have Hagstone by Sinead Gleeson, and I have seen this one about. This is one I am interested in. I think it's set on a rugged island, cut off and isolated. Artist Nell finds inspiration for her art. It sounds interesting. Feminist, set on a remote island. Oh, hang on. I'm going to put that in interested. Then we have If Only You Remember by Noor Hafsa Hamid. So never heard of this one before. When one brings you pain, another brings you sorrow, what would you do? And another brings you sorrow, what would you do? Will you choose to remember, or will you take that leap to forget? Sophia is a headstrong, independent librarian, the Nanny McPhee of the library world. Maybe. I like libraries as a setting, but the blurb isn't making me super excited. Then we have In Elvis's Room. Love the title of this, by Sebastian Pregelli. Not sure if that's how you say his name. Pregelj? Apologies. This apparently has already won awards, this book, and tells the turbulent story of Slovenian independence from the perspective of Jan, an only child growing up in Ljubljana. This definitely sounds like a me book. I'm going to put this in must read. I think that sounds fantastic. James by Percival Everett. I have read. Massive 5 stars. Hit my best of the year. Absolutely deserves a place here. Then we have Cookum by Michelle Jean, which is translated from French. And this recounts the story of Almanda Simeon, an orphan raised by her aunt and uncle, who falls in love with a young Innu man despite their cultural differences, and goes on to share her life with the Pekaukami Innu community. That sounds really interesting. I'm going to put that in interested. I don't think I've read any books like that before, so yeah, that sounds great. I also love the cover. Okay, so next we have Lioness by Emily Perkins. Also love this cover. So from humble beginnings, Therese has let herself grow used to a life of luxury after marrying into an empire-building family, but when rumours of corruption gather around her husband's latest development, the social opprobrium is shocking. The fallout swift, and Teresa begins to look at her privileged and insular world with new eyes. I think that could be quite good, but I'm going to put it in maybe, because I think it's one of those that could go either way, and I don't think I would prioritise it. Next we have Not a River by Selva Almada. This was listed for the International Booker last year. I did not get to it. I've heard mixed things about it, about 3 men who go out fishing and then returning to a favourite spot on the river despite their memories of a terrible accident there years earlier. I would say I'm still interested in this one. I would still like to read it. Then we've got Northwoods by Daniel Mason, which I have read, really enjoyed it. Great book. Almost interconnected stories, which is not usually my jam, but I really loved it in that case. About the history of a house over thousands of years. Then My Heavenly Favourite by Lucas Rijneveld. And this is translated from Dutch. In the tempestuous summer of 2005, a 14-year-old farmer's daughter makes friends with a local veterinarian who looks after her father's cows. He has reached the biblical age of 7 times 7 and is trying to escape trauma, while she is trying to escape into a world of fantasy. I do love a book set on a farm, so I'm going to put this in interested. It sounds like it could be quite good. Then we have Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. This has been everywhere. I do own it, so I'm going to put it in the interested because I definitely do want to get to it at some point, but that point just hasn't happened yet. Long Island by Colm Dubois is the follow-up to Brooklyn. I haven't read Brooklyn yet, but I do want to read Brooklyn, and then I would probably read this. So I'll put that in maybe, because I guess it depends on if I like Brooklyn. I am anticipating that I will. Out of Earth by Sheila Smanioto. And this is also translated, this one from the Portuguese. I wasn't aware of this, and then I think when me and Charlie were talking about this award, when it was first announced a couple of weeks ago, she said she was interested in this. This is a Brazilian novel, has been garlanded with multiple accolades since its initial publication. Story follows 4 generations of female characters as they navigate the hardships of life in the parched landscape of the Brazilian Sertão. Yes, I'm going to put that in a must read, because that sounds absolutely like Gemma catnip. Women, multi-generational. Yes. Set in Brazil. Okay, brilliant. We haven't got any... Oh, we've got one. Nope. Not doing too bad. Lots of these sound very interesting. Pale Shadows by Dominique Fortier. This one is translated from French. When she died, Emily Dickinson left behind hundreds of texts scribbled on scraps of paper. She also left behind 3 formidable women: her steadfast sister, her brother's ambitious mistress, and his grief-stricken wife. This sounds great! A book about Emily Dickinson and 3 women. Yes, I'm definitely interested in that. Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. I own this. I've been meaning to read it since it was nominated for not last year's Booker, but the Booker before. So this is absolutely a must read for me. River East, River West I have read. Very meh. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was nominated for the Women's Prize for Fiction last year. Then we have Seaborn. So I am interested in this. I know it was nominated for an Irish award towards the end of last year, and I remember thinking I wanted to read it then. By Nuala O'Connor. I don't know if that's how you say her name, probably not, because Irish names are never pronounced how you actually spell them. Returns with the intimate and thrilling portrayal of the life of 18th century Irish women and Anne Bonny. Adventure, passion and freedom await, but so do violence and disappointment. That sounds like a must-read book to me, so I'm going to put it up there. Then we have Sons, Daughters by Ivana Bodrozic, translated from the Croatian. In the vein of majesty works such as Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides, the power of this author, his new novel is the ability to convey the experience of being locked in, socially, domestically and intimately, told through 3 different perspectives. This is the story of a hidden gay and trans relationships, the effects of a near-fatal accident and an oppressed childhood. That sounds amazing! Yes! That's going in my must-read pile. That sounds brilliant. And you don't see many books that are translated from Croatian about, so yes, give it to me now. Star 111 by Lutz Saylor, and this is translated from German, set in 1989. The Berlin Wall has just fallen when the East German couple Ingi and Walter set out for a life in the West. Their son Karl heads to Berlin, where he discovers anarchy, love and poetry. Musical and blah 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 blah. Sounds a bit average to me. I'm going to say props not. I do like a World War II-ish type book, but it just sounds a bit boring. So, no. Okay, next. Still Alive by L.J. Pemberton. V expects a tug-of-war romance with a charming yet withholding Lex to cure her early 2000s ennui, but her family's chaos threatens to derail her overdue adulthood. That sounds boring. I'm going to put that into nope. Stoneyard Devotional by Charlotte Wood I have read. It was nominated for the Booker last year. I thought it was average. So, yes. Okay, The City of the Living by Nicola Laguia, translated from Italian. In March 2016, in an apartment on the outskirts of Rome, 2 ordinary young men brutally tortured and murdered 22-year-old Luca Varani. News of the crime sent shockwaves across Rome. What motivated such extreme violence? Were the killers evil or in the grip of societal evils? That sounds quite good. I'm going to put that in interested. It sounds a bit brutal, which is definitely my jam. Okay, The Adversary by Michael Crummy. Love a bit of orange for a start. In an isolated outport on Newfoundland's northern coastline, a ruthless act of sabotage is the opening salvo in a battle between the man and woman who own Mockbeggar's largest mercantile firms, each fighting for the scarce resources in the North Atlantic fishery. Sounds a bit boring. I'm going to put that in, probs not. Okay, Terror Story by Hilary Lichter. This one, I don't know, the cover doesn't do anything for me. Annie and her family find a beautiful terrace hidden in the closet of their cramped city apartment. It seems to only appear when their friend Stephanie visits, but every other bit of space has a hidden cost, and the terrace sets off a seismic chain of events. Maybe. I'm going to put that in maybe. Sounds like it could be quite good. Or it could be awful. Next we have Tally Girls, a novel of Afghanistan by Siamak Harawi, and this is translated from Farsi. Based on true stories, Tally Girls offers an intimate look at the lives, loves, horrors and dreams of 3 girls in an Afghan mountain village under Taliban rule. I do not need to read any more to know that is a must read. For me, absolutely yes, sign me up. Then we have Study for Obedience by Sarah Bernstein, which was listed for the Booker a couple of years ago. It sounded really dull, so that's going to go into a nope for me. Then we have The Details by Aya Genberg. This was nominated for the International Booker Prize last year. Fever struck, a woman lies bedridden. Suddenly she hits with an urge to revisit a novel from her past. Inside an inscription from an ex-girlfriend, pages from the past begin to flip, full of people she cannot forget. Sounds a bit boring, so I'm going to put that in probs not. Then we've got The Enigmatic Madame Ingram by Myham Bowie. This sounds good. Oh, this looks good. The cover looks good. This is the exciting sequel to the multi-award winning novel The Formidable Miss Cassidy. So it's a sequel, so probably not, because I haven't read the first one or heard anything about the first one, so it's unlikely. So this next one is very popular, The Family Experiment, or a very popular author, The Family Experiment by John Mars, and the strapline is 11 contestants, 9 months to win the perfect child. The population is soaring, and in the UK, breaking point has arrived with many people unable to start families, let alone raise them. Those desperate to experience parenthood have an alternative. For a monthly subscription fee, clients can create a virtual child from scratch who they access via the metaverse. That sounds brilliant. I'm going to put that in a must read. I think I really, really would like to read that quite a lot. The Foxwife by Yangtze Chu. I do own this on my Kindle, and I really enjoyed her previous book, The Night Tiger. This one's set in Manchuria, 1908. A young woman is found frozen in the snow. Her death is clouded by rumours of foxes, believed to lure people into peril by transforming into beautiful women and men. This is also going to go on a must read for me, because I really, really did like her last book, and I already own it, so I really must read it. The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. Anyway, loads of people read this last year. It's big, particularly in the States, and I think it's about a midwife who finds a body under the ice. A lot of it told in letters. I am definitely interested in that. Then we have The Future by Catherine LaRue. I think this was nominated for the Carroll Shields Prize, and it's translated from French. It's an alternate history of Detroit. Strange and magical things are happening. Children rule over their own kingdom in trees, and burnt houses regenerate themselves. I was interested in this at the time. I'm still interested in it now. The Girl with the Seven Lies by Vikras Swarup. The cover of this makes me think it's not a me book. There we go. 25-year-old Debbie has been kidnapped. She is now being held hostage in a dimly lit basement by a masked gunman who is threatening to shoot her dead unless she reveals her entire life story and confesses to all the crimes he is accusing of her. That's a probs not for me. That doesn't sound like a very me book. It sounds like the kind of movie I would watch, but not the kind of book I would read. So yeah, I don't think that's for me. Okay, so this one is The Girl You Call by Tagwi Vale. I think it's actually called Call Girl in some countries, so that's the cover that I have here, which is different to the one on the website. This is translated from French. In a shrewd, timely novel with the allure of old school noir, an aging boxer and his daughter fight back against political corruption and sexual abuse. Okay, I would say maybe. That sounds like it could be a me book. We then have The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. This has been everywhere, about a small community that is made up predominantly of Jews and black people, and a little deaf boy is potentially going to get taken away and put into a home, and the community bands together. It's supposed to be very good. Oh. So I would put that in interest. And I do own it, so maybe I should put it in must read. I think I'm going to put it in must read because I do own it and I haven't read any James McBride, so it's time. It's going in the priority list. Then we have The In-Between by Christos Tsiolkas. Two middle-aged men meet on an internet date. Each has been scarred by a previous relationship. Each has his own compelling reasons for giving up on the idea of finding love. It makes me want to vomit in my mouth, just those words. So I'm going to put this in the nope category because I'm just not a romance person. I think I just saw the word tender and hopeful as well in the description, so it's definitely not for me. The Road to the Country by Chigozie Obiyama. This has had quite a lot of hype. I think a lot of people thought this was going to be listed for the book of last year, and then it wasn't. About a country plunged into civil war. Two brothers on either side of it, which side of it are divided. They will try to find their way back to each other. Yes, that definitely sounds like a me book. That's going in the must read. Then we have The Most Secret Memory of Men, which I do own. So this one is set in Paris 2018. A young Senegalese writer discovers a legendary book titled The Maze of Inhumanity. It has an immediate hold over him. No one knows what happened to the author. So yeah, I am interested in this one because I already own it. Then we have The Mark by Frida Isberg. This is translated from Icelandic. Do you see what I mean about this prize? It just opens up the whole globe. I love that. The Icelandic Psychological Association, words are hard, has prepared a test, a sensitivity assessment that measures a person's empathy and identifies the potential for antisocial behaviour. Some believe the test makes society safer, others decree it as a violation. That sounds really good. Definitely interested in that. Then we have The Lost Love of Akbar Manzil by Shubnam Khan. Sana and Mina will never meet, but they are bound by Akbar Manzil, a once grand mansion on South Africa's east coast. When Mina fell in love with the house's owner, it was the pride of Durban. Decades later, when Sana and her father move in as tenants, it's a crumbling wreckage. I would say maybe. It sounds quite interesting. I like the idea of the South African setting, but I'm not 100% sold on the description, you know? Okay, next up, we have The Incredible Dreams of Garba Dacascus by Umar Abubakar Sidi. The Incredible Dreams of Garba Dacascus is a philosophical quest through time in search of a book with obscure origins, which might contain the secret of the alphabet and offer the reader a divine glimpse behind the veil that shrouds our plane of existence. I am not a philosophy fan, so this is going to go in the nope pile for me, even though I love the cover. The Triumph of Lions by Stefania Auci. This is translated from the Italian. A magnificent novel that explores the origins of one of Italy's most powerful and notorious families, men and women whose ruthless ambition and caprice would chart the course of modern Italian history. A tale of grand historical dramas, exotic locales, political intrigue and heartbreaking romance. I'm going to put that in the maybe. It sounds like it could be quite good, but it's not grabbing me like some of the others. The Women by Kristen Hannah I read. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's as good as some of her other books. Anamor by Sara Mesa. This is translated from Spanish. On the heels of a cryptic mistake, Nat arrives in La Escapa, an arid rural village in Spain's interior. She settles into a small shabby house with cheap rent to begin work on her first literary translation with a skittish and ill-tempered dog, blah blah blah. I'm bored already, so props not. Then we have Vladivostok Circus by Eliza Shua-Dasapin, and I've read a book by this author before. I read the Pachinko Parlor last year, didn't love it, so I would say this is going to go firmly in the maybe pile for me, because I would wait to see some reviews of it before I would read it after not liking her previous book. Then we have Water by John Boyne. The first thing Vanessa Carvin does on the island is change her name. To the locals, she is Willow Hale, a solitary outsider escaping Dublin, not a notorious woman on the run from her past. It sounds alright. John Boyne is a bit of an ick author though, so I'm going to put that in probs not. Wild Houses by Colin Barrett I have read, and I very much enjoyed it. It was a fun ride. What Will Survive of Us by Howard Jacobson. I mean, the cover says no to me, but let's see what the first couple of lines of the blurb say. Lily falls in love with Sam the minute she sets eyes on him. It takes Sam a day or two longer. Okay, so it's insta-love. So that's a nope. No. Whale Fall. I've seen this all over the shop. I think this is set in Wales. Yes, it is. On a remote island off the coast of Wales, the world looks ready to end, just as she is trying to reimagine a future for herself. Rumours of submarines have villagers stealing themselves for what's to come. Empty houses remind them of men the last Great War took, and they see bad omens everywhere. I would say this is a maybe. The synopsis doesn't grab me, but I have seen it about, so maybe I'm judging it too quickly. Then we have Welcome to the Hainam Dong Bookshop by Huang Bo Riem. This is Korean, and one of those sort of like cozy bookshop books which I am interested in. I am interested in that. So we'll pop that up there. We Are Light by Gerda Blees. This one is translated from the Dutch, a riveting experimental novel about a commune where the members believe they can live on light and love alone proves fatal for them. Well, yeah, it would. It does sound quite interesting, but I'm going to put it in the maybe category. Like religious zealotry is not always my thing. A Short Walk Through a Wide World by Douglas Westerbeck. I do own this one, and it's an adventure story. Adventurous life of one woman as she journeys the globe trying to outrun a mysterious curse that will destroy her if she stops moving. So that is a must read for me. I'm really interested in that. Then we have At the Grand Glacier Hotel by Lawrence Fernley. Following a disastrous family holiday, Libby and Curtis make a promise. If they ever visit the west coast of the South Island again, it will be to stay at the majestic Grand Glacier Hotel. 20 years later, Libby is recovering from cancer and the couple finally return to the resort, except the glacier has retreated. Nothing goes to plan and a storm separates her from Curtis, blah, 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 blah. I'd say props not. That doesn't sound very interesting to me. Then we have Audition by Pip Adams. Audition is hurtling through space towards the event horizon. Squashed immobile into its rooms are three giants, Alba, Stanley and Drew. If they talk, the spaceship keeps moving. If they are silent, they resume growing. What? Talk they must do as they do. Albert, Stanley and Drew recover their shared memories of what has been done to their incarcerated former selves. That sounds insane, and I think I must read it. Okay, and I think that was all of them. So overall, there's quite a lot of books here that I would clearly like to get to, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 in my must-read pile. And quite a few in my interested pile. So yeah, I think that sounds fantastic. I mean, if you look down towards the bottom, like props not a note, there's not actually that many books in there. And I haven't read many of them either. I don't know why that's in there. I haven't DNF'd any yet. So yeah, I think what I'm going to try and do is read the 13 from my must list. And then I'll come back and tell you whether they were must-read books or not. Obviously, that's not going to happen in the very near future because Women's Prize and International Booker Prize are about to kick off. But I thought it was an interesting way to review the very, very long list that is the Dublin Literary Awards. So let me know if any of these stand out to you, if you think you're going to pick any up. If you've followed this prize before, I'd love to know. If you are just in general a prize fan and you would like to see the books that I predict to be on the Women's Prize for non-fiction, I'll leave that video here and I will see you all very soon with another one. Bye guys!